Big Poppy in the house. This is going to be video 4 or 5, I can't remember. And we're going through a series here on troubleshooting the Loadmaster press. So we've been going through several things and how to set it up, and also things that occur when you're reloading that you continue to have to troubleshoot and fix. Hey, before we get started, it's been one wild week. As most of you know, all the gun channels, the reloading channels, the gunsmithing channels are being threatened by YouTube's new company policy. We're basically being told that we've got X amount of days to take our channels off, our videos, or they're going to close our accounts. A lot of things going back and forth. We don't know what's factual, what's not. If you look at the new update on their policy, the way that everyone reads it, pretty well all the gun channels, reloading channels, gunsmith channels are gone. They are being challenged on several things. I know that last night I probably spent 3 hours and I sent probably 125 messages back to YouTube asking for clarification on a few things. If you look at it, manufacturing, my manufacturing ammo to show you how to make it to resell. No, I'm not. We're all basically making or reloading for ourselves to be able to shoot and have ammo available. A lot of the gun things are good because a lot of times if you buy a new gun, especially for me, and I take it apart and I clean it, and let's say that I forgot how to put it back together, you can go on YouTube and go back to that as a reference, and it's an awesome benefit for all of us that's in the sport. It does help. There's a lot of videos that we make out there to train and educate young people that are just now getting their guns and learning how to go hunting and just shooting in general, and then you got your self-defense and those kind of things. There's a lot of good channels out there, and if this goes through, we're going to lose a lot of expertise and a lot of good people. It is a awesome group of people to work with out there, and most of us, we're getting to know, or we know a lot of these people, and we've talked to them on a daily basis, and we've asked for better ways to do things, and we're a lot of us are always talking about safety. Nobody asked for the shooting at any of these schools, but most of us, I'm not going to get into all the politics, but enough red flags was there. The government and a lot of the stuff, it failed. I mean, there was so many indicators in so many of these cases. So right now, we're, and then on the legal side, as far as we're hearing that the bump stocks are gone. Sounds like they're going to support teachers to be able to be allowed to have concealed carry firearms in school. I think that's great. And let me just make a statement there. Every time there's a shooting, about every 30 seconds, one of the news channels just keeps talking and talking about the same old thing. What was it? Beginning of this week, maybe Monday. I could be off on my days. One school, a kid went in there with a pistol, and I believe he shot 2 people. And there was a serviceman on site, and he drawled this pistol and he shot the kid dead. Now, that gentleman saved a lot of kids that could have been shot. This is what we've been telling everyone, the politicians, over and over and over. Guns are a good thing. They do prevent massive killings like the 17 people in Florida. Who's to say, if this gentleman would have never been in that school, that maybe 25 kids could have been killed? But 2 shot, both, I think one's in critical, one's still in the hospital, the second one's in the hospital, but that shooter, he's dead. So that goes to show you that concealed carry and having guns in our schools does pay off. But let me ask you the question. In the last 3 days, how much time did you see on TV and how much they were talking about this good thing that happened that prevented several children from being killed or could have been killed? You didn't hear hardly anything. See, it didn't fit their agenda. They're so focused on anti-guns. But we didn't hear a lot. And it wasn't every 30 seconds you keep hearing about this guy. He's a hero. Hey, he saved a bunch of kids' lives. It's just aggravating. I've been aggravated with this for some time. And I know there's a lot of other people. You know, and on my channel, if I can't do reloading, my whole channel's all about reloading. So there goes my channel if we can't reload. You know, I got a good question last night, and a gentleman asked, he says, what is your intentions if we do get kicked off the channel going forward from YouTube? To be quite honest, to answer that question, all of us gun channels, gunsmiths, reloading channels, we're all scattered, and we're trying to find another hub, another place that we can continue what we've built over the years. So, you know, some things I could tell you a little bit. If you stay reviewing a gentleman, it's called Legal Armed Ammunition. If you stay on top of his channel, he's trying to get a lot of information and some of the clarification broke down so we actually know what the heck's going on. And last night he brought on an attorney from Louisiana, and he was trying to filter through that and answer some of these questions as well. So, you know, Patreon, I mean, that's an avenue that we could go. Another good channel is Military Arms channel. There's also a Full 30 out there. Now, to best of my ability and what I've heard, there is so many people trying to take all their videos and download it into some of these other mainstreams, but they are so overloaded that, for an example, I've been trying to get on Full 32. I just can't get in there. There's too much. They're taking on too much all at once, and they wasn't prepared for that. And I'll tell you what, another gentleman invited me with an invitation, and he also said that I could speak about this. And the gentleman's channel is Gunsmoke71. Super nice guy, very intelligent. He said what we could do is go to reloading.slick, SLICK.com. Granted, when you get in there, it's supposed to be an invitation only, but and I'm just going to give his first name, but Jeff said that we can share this, communicate it to everybody that's out there about this channel. It's done a little bit different. I haven't had a lot of time to go out there and do a lot with it, but I do appreciate it, Jeff, and thanks for inviting me. It's definitely on my list to try to look at that and see if that's going to allow me to continue of the passion I have for reloading and the sport. So again, you guys can go out there and take a look at that. And like I said, there's some way, even though you don't get invited, there's some way that I think he said in the email that you could still belong to it. Okay, so don't have all the answers, but I'm sure that Jeff's probably going to review my video today. And Jeff, if you want to go down in the comments and write stuff and communication of how we could get more people to know where to go once our channels are canceled or closed out or whatever the case may be, please feel free to do that. You know, there's a couple people that there's a few people that don't like Adam Kraut You know, he was really heavily involved with trying to get on the board with the NRA. But I do think that Adam Crott and also John Patterson, I think they have a lot of good information. And the one thing about John Patton is he just received, he has 100,000 subscribers as of this week. When a channel reaches 100,000 subscribers, they assign a person at YouTube to oversee his channel. They have multi-channels, but they do. He has a, like, let's for a better word, let's say a customer service rep for his channel. He is continuing every single day to call her and ask questions and that, and trying to get feedback and clarification on when we're going forward, how many days do we got before they cancel our channels, when do they start wiping out our videos. We already know a lot of people are getting strikes. And she basically has told him she's been able to answer a few questions, but she still does not know the lawyer perspective of breaking it down to be able to answer some of those questions. She's trying, but again, if you stay with John Patton, P-A-T-T-O-N, he's really working hard for us to try to get our channels and get this thing straightened out. So, you know, keep looking at his channel. Another one, the firearm guy, also the gun collection, gun collector. I think that's actually John Patton's channel. I could be wrong, but I think it's called the gun collection or gun collector on that. So I don't have all the answers of what I'm going to do, but I'm sure trying to look at all the options and stuff that we're trying to do. I know me personally, if somebody else out there could put together something similar to what YouTube's got, sign me up, and I'd be more than willing to pay a monthly fee or a yearly fee to be associated with that channel. And then, you know, if we can find someone within our organization, the gunsmithing, the reloading, and guns in general, we could control what we put out there in front of people, and we wouldn't have to continue to be threatened on what our channels are putting out there to our subscribers. But man, there's so many good things that have come out of all the things that we've been allowed to do up to this time. And you know, YouTube's been a very good channel, company, system. And then they've started falling off the bandwagon here in the last probably, would you guys say probably 6 months? We keep hearing that we're going to be out, or we're going to be in, or we're going to be okay, we're not. That uncertainty really works against us. I don't know if you guys know it, but there's some channels out there where they got 11,000 videos. There is sites out there that this is their bread and butter. This is how they make their money. And they also pay a lot of money out of their own pocket to do some of the videos and have video crews and promoting all the stuff out there. And see, if we don't get a channel up and going, we're not going to know about all the different types of guns that are available, and you know, what's good, what's bad, what are some of the problems that's came up, and then also how to fix it. You know, and like gunsmithing, I'm going to take my stock off my shotgun and I'm just going to sand it down and refinish it and that, and I can't put something like that on it. I mean, that's crazy. Alright, so I've tried to answer some of the questions that's been coming my way. Feel free to chime in, and if there's other channels and stuff out there that I should be looking at, please let me know. Like I said, I have a passion for shooting guns and reloading. I mean, that's my whole hobby. I love it. Okay? Alright, so let's get started. I figured if I just put a video out there and all I'm doing is talking about this whole thing, I'll probably get crap. I'd probably get an X against my thing and they'd probably delete it. So now we'll go into what we've been wanting to try to do as far as finishing up the series on the Loadmaster. Today what I want to do is I want to cover the powder and powder drops and those kind of things, and show you some easier ways to do things, and show you how all that works. Okay, so first of all, you're going to need a scale of some sort. Most of the scales that I use are Hornady, and you need to plug them in and turn them on 15 minutes prior to wanting to use them. If you don't, it has a fluctuation that is too large, that you can never get your powder dialed in. So like I talked last time, I took all my powder drops that had the discs. I've got rid of all those. I've got them, and if anybody needs any, I've got a bunch for sale. Some of them brand new, never used. As you guys know, I keep a lot of spare parts here on site. So you're going to get this. This is probably one of the best ones I've ever used or had, and it's called the Lee Precision and Company Incorporated, and it's an auto drum powder measure, and the number on it's 90811. Okay, you're going to get a hopper and a chain in the inside. You're going to get a second disc, and it looks like just like this. Now you have a small and you have a large. How do you know if you've got which one's the large and which one's the small? On the large, it has a second. Here's where your little key holder is. Here's another little black circle thing on the right side. That's your large. When you have your small, it does not have that second one over here. This is your small. When you buy these, it will come to you with the small installed. Okay? Then you're going to get two keys. And these two keys go right into here. And what you do is you turn this out to get more powder, or you turn it in to get less powder. Okay? Okay, now I want all my presses are set up. When I pull that handle down and this case goes up into the die of my powder drop, I want this to cycle. I want it to drop the powder. Okay, I don't want no chain. I want it to be simple, easy process. So what you're going to do is, when you get this, if you want it set up that way, is you're going to take this part off. And it's this part right here. Okay? When you take that off, it's going to look just like this. Okay? And I want to talk about this. So for an example, when we get this dialed in, which I'm going to show you how, you're going to see this. When you're all the way down on your bottom stroke, all the way down, you should see this little tab right here go all the way up to the top of this cavity. In order to have this set up correctly, this has to go from here all the way to the top. Okay? Alright, let me... Okay. Alright. Now, these little drums you can buy extra. I've got a bunch of them, small and large, and you can buy them in a kit of 4, 2 and 2. And again, like I said, when you take this key and you put it in this threaded part here, you can see that this threads in. The farther these threads are up in here, the less powder you're going to get here. the more you come out and more threads are showing, you're going to have more powder coming into this block here from the top down. It fills up this chamber right here. And what you're doing is you're trying to dial in how many grains you want. Okay? Alright, now, what I would do too is if you have special grains that you reload over and over and over, consider taking on your powder thing here, consider taking and putting a label on this little flat spot right here. Mark that with a label and put on there, like mine's marked for 6.5 grains is what I'm wanting for what we're going to reload. Alright, and I'll get you some close-ups. And all this is on the other side, there's a little nut that goes on it and you turn it in with a little screw in it. And all this cylinder do is just fits right into this casting here. Okay? Alright. Alright, so the next thing you're going to do is, I've already taken it out, but okay, so the next thing we're going to do is, because we're going to try to dial in the powder, is I want you to take this indexing rod out and set it aside. Okay? I want you to take a screwdriver and on this back guide that keeps your case onto the shell plate, I want you to go move it slightly over to the back side and tighten that down. And what that's going to allow you to do, alright, now you're going to need one brass case, and it could be, and you're going to have to resize it. You can go ahead and put a new primer if you choose to do that, or you can use an old primer for trying to dial in the powder. But the one thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you've got a case that has a primer in it and that you've already resized it. Okay? And when I say resize and to make sure it's correct, you're going to want to make sure that this bullet actually starts to go into your case, and when you know it's right, you should be able to turn it upside down and shake it. If you can't get this into the top of the case, the mouth, then you have not got that set up right, and you need to drop your die slightly down a little bit more. Okay? So it should have a nice little crisp where it wants to stick in there. Alright, now you do not want to over flare this, because what's going to happen is you're going to take your bullet and you're going to put it in there, and you're going to almost take your hand and you can push it in or out. That's flared too much. And what you're going to do is you're going to realize if you've got it flared too much, this is going to continue to jam up on you. Because when it comes down into it to actually resize this, it'll be so wide that it's not going to function properly. You're going to know it if you're too far. Alright, so what I want you to do is take that case with a primer in it, and it's been resized, and I want you to put it in your shell plate holder. Okay? Now, what we could do is, there is a key here. I already told you how this system works. So go ahead and put your powder in. Go ahead and take your powder container here and go all the way to the right, and that's going to tell you that the powder's on. As you can see, I've got a little arrow, little hand pointing with an arrow. Green's all the way over, red's all the way off. Reason why I did that is a lot of times I'd go and take this darn thing off and think that I had the thing shut off, and I'm raising it up so I can pour it back into the container, and powder's just running all over everywhere. So I put this on my presses, and it's just a visual indicator saying, hey dummy, make sure you shut it off before you take it off, because it does make one hell of a mess. So I know exactly where this needs to be, but alright, I'm going to try to simplify this a little bit. I still want to go through the process, but every time you turn this little key here with the thread going in, every time you turn that to a flat, it's 1/10 of I think it's CC. Yeah, CCs. Okay? So you can sit here and keep taking and putting that shell underneath there and coming down, and you're not even getting close to your powder. So again, you know, you can make it a little bit faster by going ahead and keep moving this out considerably. But once you start getting down to where it's very fine, you're just going to take and go like maybe quarter turns on this. Go a little at a time. Now, until you get used to this, it does take a while to get used to setting that up and dialing it in. Alright? Now, I'm going to show you, we're going to go through, matter of fact, let's just do that. We're just going to go through this. What I do is I take a piece of paper and I put the powder that I'm going to use, which this is Winchester Auto Comp. This is a competition powder, okay, and it's a ball powder. I usually go and write 1 through 10. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here. I got the shell plate in there. Going to raise it up. And when you take the index rod out, remember you're just going to make sure you got to line it up. Okay, so you're going to get powder in here. You're going to take and put it on your scale. And I got a 6.7. So I'm going to write a 6.7. We're going to go through this process. Okay, stick it back in there again. Line it up, make sure you're good. This time I got 6.7. You're going to do that 10 times. .7. One thing I like about these powder drops is they're very consistent, and I can tell you that they're more consistent than the discs that we used to use. So that one was a 6.8. And granted, if you're way off, you want to go ahead and start screwing that in. But we're looking for a 6.5 grains. That was 6.6. .6. .8. Remember, some of you are probably way advanced and you already know this. That was 6.7. But also keep in mind there's a few of my subscribers that are brand new reloaders. So if I can help anybody out, I want to make sure that I do that. So I'm going to spend a little bit more time like I've been doing. .6. One more. 6.7. Okay, and then all you do is take a calculator, add it all up. Okay, the total score came up to 66.9. You're going to divide that by 10. My average was 6.69. Okay. So, you know, once I got like, I think I got 6.7 dried up, I could go ahead and start adjusting that instead of waiting until the 10. But I just wanted to go through a scenario doing that, okay? So you're going to take this, when your threads, when you're going clockwise in, this cylinder comes in here and moves it up. So when this powder drops down, it's filling this cavity right here. Okay, so what I want to do is, I ended up being at 6.69. I want to be at 6.5. So each one of these is the 10th. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move it 1 flat, 2, 3, and let's see what we got here. If I get the same thing this time, I've went too far. Let's see where I'm. Okay. So I need to back this out a little bit because I just did 2 and it's 5.9. So I moved 3 flats. So I'm going to move 1, 2 flats back, and let's see where I'm at. Okay, 6.3. Let's see if we can get another 6.3. Alright, 6.3 again. So, I need a little bit more, so I'm going to back this out just slightly, not even going a whole flat. $6.5. Let's see if we get another 6.5. $6.5. $6.5. $6.5. Remember, when your index rod's out, you're going to have to line that up, because all you're doing is you're not cycling the whole press. Okay, that was a 6.4. And again, you know, I would do 10 of them. .5. Alright, so I would feel comfortable going ahead and reloading with my powder drop. Now, there is another way and a quicker way to do this if you don't want to go through this exercise. I think if you're new to the sport and you're new to this kind of a powder drop, I think if you go through there and continue, it may take you a while to get it set up the first time, but you're going to understand how sensitive this is as far as the threads going in and out, as far as if you're throwing more powder or less powder. But I want to show you something. Let's see. Alright, so again, we're filling this cavity up here. So if you want more in your cavity here of powder, you're going to take and turn this out. If you want less filling up in this, you're going to turn it in. Okay, now what you can do is there's a hole right here on the top. This is where the powder drops into it and then runs down to this here. Alright, let me show you a real fast way. And since I reload a lot, I could probably get pretty close here, but I'm going to show you a quicker way that you can do it. Alright, so what I can do, I've got a full kit of these, but I don't use them. I used them when I first started. You know, they're little powder dippers. And it tells you what's on the handle part of it too. So I've moved this down to what I think is going to be around pretty close to that 6.5. So I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to put it right here. And I'm going to hold it just like this. Okay? You're going to need maybe a tray or something. And let's see, can you see that? Okay. Alright. So what I'm going to do is this hole, I'm going to hold it straight up. This will be to the downside. I'm going to take this dipper and I'm going to get some powder in here. Matter of fact, I got to put this up here. Alright, so I put my tray back on my scale over here. And you could also use a trickler too, if you wanted to do this. So you're going to just take this and you're going to keep adding powder until you hit what you want, which we want 6.5. Okay, so we took the dipper. I'm going to try doing this and not making a mess. Alright, so I know there's 6.5 grains of powder in my pan. Alright, now what I'm trying to do is verify, do I have this cylinder cracked up right? So if you know you got 6.5 here, this 6.5 needs to fit inside this hole, and you're checking it when it's totally level all the way across. So let's do that. I'm going to see this, and what I've learned by pouring it in there is I have too much. I need to lower this down because my powder has fell out on the top of it. It's not totally flush with it. Alright, so I'm going to dump this back into my hopper here, pour it out, and I know that it was falling around the top, so I'm going to take and I'm going to back this out one flat at a time. And then once again, I'm going to take my tray, put it back over here, and you can try to pour it back into your thing, but you lose some of it. So go ahead, put your 6.5 in there again, and you can use your trickler if you want. You're looking for 6.5, and I actually went a little over, so I gotta get rid of a little bit of it. And you can decide which is faster. I'm just showing you because you can do this. Tricks of the trade. 6. Okay. Alright. We're good there. Alright, so once again, if I know I got 6.5 in my pan, and I've already lowered this down just a little bit more, because it was running out of the top. And here, I'm still not enough. So I'm going to go 2 more flats. Okay, I still got to go a little bit more. I'm going to go another flat. And that looks good. All right, you'll get the principle of it. Okay, so when I have this set up right with this flat and with the powder drop that needs to fill in here, I should be 100% totally flush with my powder on the top of this cylinder. Okay? Alright? So that's another way you can do that. And if you've got the correct dippers, which like I said, I got a whole set somewhere, I don't know where they're at. So that would probably speed it up, because now you're doing it direct, and you keep backing this out until the right amount of grains that you want is filling this up and it's flush and level. Okay, now I leave my little key on them when I do my press, because I have a bullet drop that I put on, which that's probably what we're going to do in the next video. Is you can take this, if it gets in your way, and stick it in here, and it's like a little holder for your key. Okay. Alright. Alright. Alright, now, since we want to wrap up about the powder, I'm going to show you how to take the powder out of this hopper. I don't recommend that you leave your powders in your reloaders. When I first started, I was doing that. And then what's going to happen is the powder wants to cling to the walls of your hopper. The other thing is, it could be a safety issue if you had a small fire or a spark or something, having the powder in there all the time. The next thing is your hopper's going to start turning black. Let's say, for an example, your hopper is, you can see all the powder, it's clinging to the walls of your hopper. If you go and get some graphite, put a little bit of graphite in there, put the lid on it, shake it around, let it sit in there for about 5 minutes, come back, pour it out, wipe it out with a paper towel. That'll take care of your powder clinging to the walls of your hopper. Okay, so we know that the powder's already on right now. You're going to take your hopper and you're going to turn it. Matter of fact, let me show you one more thing. A lot of times, I wish there was a better fix for this. The lids keep falling off half the time. So what I do is I take the hopper, and there's a little screw on the back side. And what I do is I take this rubber band and I go across the top of it, and it holds my lid on for me. Okay, now since we're going to empty it out, let me grab the I ain't got no competition shooting today, that's for sure. It's pouring down rain, and we're supposed to get 3 to 5 inches of snow. Alright, so here's my powder. Alright, first thing I need to do is I need to take my hopper and I need to turn it all the way over to the left, and there's a tab. When you touch the tab, that means your hopper is off. What you do is you take your hopper, lift it straight up. Now, you might think these little indicators are stupid, not needed, but I've left this on before, pulled it up just like that and had it going everywhere. So I know exactly where the on and off is. Okay, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to pour it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to use a funnel. So I'm going to pour all this powder back into my hopper. And hopefully I'm still recording. We're about ready to wrap this up. And then on our next video, we're going to be doing a lot about bullet drops, bullet seeding. And I'll show you some equipment that pretty nice. We're getting there. Okay, and I'm going to set that aside for right now. Alright, now, you still have powder in here. Alright? You don't have to take all that off. Just go back, the same thing as when we were trying to dial in our grains of powder. Keep taking that case here, put it in place, bring it up like what you were. Just keep cycling it. Your case is going to get full. Keep doing it. Keep doing it until you don't get any powder. And it sometimes takes like 10 or 12 times, but the thing you're doing is you're not spilling all your powder all over everything, and then you got to come back and clean it all up. Remember, my indexing pin's not in there, so that's why you got to keep lining that up when you're bringing it up, because that shell plate's going to float on you. There's nothing keeping it in place. Let me look in the top of it and see if we're getting close. Yeah, we're getting close. Okay, I think this one might be our last one. And it is. Alright, so once again, I'll show you one more thing. Go to a hobby shop, Lowe's, Menards, one of those places, and pick up, I think these are like, I don't know, 60-cent brushes. They work out really great. Like my funnel, since I don't use it all the time, you're going to get a little clean of the powder. Put this back. Same thing with your hopper. And like I said, you could take and put graphite so it doesn't continue to happen. I take the walls when I'm emptying that out. And I take that powder. It's already off, like I said. So I'm going to take and put this back on here. And again, you know, I got my lid up here. And I'm going to take that rubber band and take it from the screw that's on the bottom side of the hopper, bring it up over the top. We've already taken all of our powder out, it's not sitting in the press. Alright, let me do, before we wrap things up, because I think that's long enough, I'm going to show you just a real close up of the powder drop and some of the things that I did that I've talked about that maybe I haven't did a very good job being in your way. So we'll take it off here real quick. And again, here's your hopper. Here's what I did as far as marking my on and off. Greens to the right, and pink because I didn't have pink or red dots. And then you come down here, and I put a little paper on it, or a little sticker, 6.5 grains. Comes down here, we took that one part off, which was this right here. I took that off, and that allows for this to cycle. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it, I'm going to put a case in there that just in case there's anything in there, which there shouldn't be. Get that lined up there. And you'll see up here, this is moving up, and then it comes back down. And that's what you want to see. You also want to see, remember we talked about this here, that tab should be all the way up. When it's all the way down, you'll see a spring in there. And you'll know when you have it set up correctly. Alright. Hold on a minute. We'll wrap this up. Alright, that will conclude today as far as the video, and we mainly covered the powder, so hopefully that helps. If you like my channel, please subscribe. For how long we're going to have a channel. Please support the sport, and as always, good shooting and thank you.